Happening in the world of entertainment. From trending hot topics to even hotter music videos, the best events, and the most interesting guests, of course.
It just pushed me.
So find all of that juiciness and more on Posh Spice, the show that brings you all of the most entertaining content from the entertaining world of entertainment.
That's lit, man!
So watch me bring sizzling hot content to you on Television Nigerian. You can watch us on our Nice Concert platforms, and if you are not a fan of television, watch us on our social media platforms and our web TV, of course.
Don't miss it. Seriously, don't miss it. My job literally depends on it.
Your body bang, bang, your body bang, 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 your body bang, bang, your body bang. And I gave us when you take a selfie, when you take a pose, you the ginger the boy. Every time you bend the low, come on girl when you take a selfie. When you take a pose, you the ginger the boy. Every time you bend it low.
Want to shoot a dope music video at 50% discount?
50% discount?
Yeah, 50% discount. Bougie down to Television Nigerian with world-class equipment and a badass expert crew.
Oga, face your camera now. Shh. Shh. Continue.
Where was I? Everything extra.
Carolina, you bada.
Hurry up.
I know say you know this thing you did do, my girl, say you know. Your body is big and I know say you know.
Cut a slice of the north central Nigeria with its raw mix of cultures, treasures, and amazing people. Based in the vibrant glory of the beauty of nature with striking landscapes. And that's the best from agriculture, commerce and entrepreneurship. Put in a mix of local politics and governance from a resourceful people with amazing lifestyles, and you are right in the center of the northern Nigeria. North Central Journal, a compendium of people, places, news and views, all in an amazing mix that bears it all. Only on Television Nigerian.
This is Television Nigerian, a broadcast network committed to serving you the very best in online and offline television programming. Situated in the serene environment of Guzape, Abuja FCT, TVN, as it is fondly called, caters to a wide variety of audience via carefully orchestrated mind-blowing programs in the areas of fashion, business, politics, entertainment, religion, movies, food and health, culture and lifestyle, events around the globe, sports and foreign news. Whatever your inclination, we've got you completely covered with programs like Issues of the Moment, The Patriot, Daybreak Nigeria, Mata Africa, TV and Business Time, Healthy Living, From the Cradle, Stay Inspired, Entertainment Gist, Movie Hour, Hits Paradise, among others. All designed to keep you thoroughly informed, entertained, at the edge of your seats and yearning for more. A tour around our domain will reveal a highly dedicated staff force and a state-of-the-art facility and equipment for high-definition quality broadcast, making our station your #1 choice in advertising your business and propagating your ideas. We are currently on Nigecomsat doing our test transmission for takeoff in the nearest future. Television Nigerian is located in Nigeria at Television Nigerian House, Guzape Hilltop Mansion, beside Guzape White House, Guzape Abuja FCT, and in the United Kingdom at 45 Ancient House, 48 Aerodrome Road, Beaufort Park, Colindale, London. For inquiries, Television Nigerian, broadcast beyond boundaries.
Yes! Got it! Fashion is life.
And so is music.
Ladies!
If not play, make this papa, I know they I want binu to it. Only more for shoko.
And all the movies you can watch basically.
Walks through walls and stuff.
So watch us. Follow us.
Connect with us. Television Nigerian.
Hang with the gang.
Part of the fan.
On Flex Arena. It's entertainment.
Oh, yeah, love.
Bliss.
Flip.
Good morning and welcome to Daybreak Africa, reaching you live from Television Nigeria, Guzape Hills, Abuja. I am Lucy Ora.
And I am Charles Ibe. Welcome to the platform where you get the best of everything that sets the tone for a wonderful day. And today is actually a wonderful day.
Yes, it is a wonderful day because I could say we didn't start with the rain this morning. The whole place is looking sunny, the clouds is looking clear, and we're expecting the best. And talking about the clear skies, Mr. Charles, the president has received the report from the envoy from South Africa, and he has ordered the evacuation of Nigerians.
I think that's a very good move from the presidency. Nigerian safety first, before any diplomatic move, before they have to go to round table to talk about whatever the fate of those who lost properties and all of that will be. The remaining in South Africa should please come home because they have indicated interest that they want to come home. And up till Sunday, the South Africans were still insisting that foreigners should leave. So let the foreigners leave first. Let's see how they fare. Because I believe something is telling me that South Africa is still going to beg people to please come back and help us grow our economy.
But when they mean foreigners, do they attack the whites or just the black people in their communities?
Funny enough, it's just blacks, they are fellow blacks, because they felt, I think it's understandable. I mean, people of your same class, of your same race, and you see obviously they are doing far better. It gives room to envy, it gives room to a lot of things which shouldn't be, actually. I think it's a misplaced anger or a misdirected anger, because I think blacks are not their problem. If they have to direct something, it has to be at the whites who for so long suppressed them and actually gave them this inferior mentality, and they are now transferring their aggressions to other African countries because obviously they come. They were more relaxed wherever they were coming from. Like in Nigeria, there are opportunities. You are free to develop yourselves. So if you go to a country, another country where the indigenes there or the natives there do not really have a sense of self-worth because of the long period of apartheid and degradation and all of that. So they are still struggling with the post-apartheid mentality. So Nigerians are cashing in and they are making it. Other African countries are cashing in and they are progressing. And then these people are looking at...
It's really a sad one there, and we hope that the South African government are doing something to actually get this situation out of, put it in place. And talking about South Africa, we're going to come back to our home now, where Shite is threatening to come out to protect, and the IGP is telling them, you will be identified as a terrorist if you come out of the streets.
I wouldn't know what the Shiites would still be protesting for at this point in time. The previous protests have not really yielded any results. They've not really gotten actually what they wanted. They've been suffering casualties. Even the police and some innocent citizens have fallen victims to this. So I think they should listen to a higher voice this time. God should speak to their minds.
I know,
this time because
they are threatening this Asura procession. I don't know what that actually means in the Islamic terms, but they are threatening to actually be on the streets. And IGP is telling all the commissioners of police to make sure that this protest doesn't go through.
But I don't know, the Asura, is it about protest or is it a religious rite that normally takes place on the street? If it is, maybe they might have a point there that if it is what my religion states that I have to be. Just like Christians, you have to be in church to worship. Muslims, you have to be in the mosque to worship. So if the Asura is about them proclaiming their faith on the street, well, I think what they've been needing this time might be police protection to make sure it doesn't turn violent. But if it is a protest,
considering what the court has ordered, they can't be allowed to do that anymore.
But okay, is it like the religion is now proscribed or procession?
I think it's a bit of dicey there. Maybe
really
we might have at some point get a legal person to put a view on this, because it's really dicey there, because they are allowed to, because it's the freedom of rights for religion.
It's still enshrined in our constitution.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're saying they can't, protest, they can't be seen together. What does it really mean? Maybe a bit of clarification on that aspect, and a bit of politics coming from Abia State, where the tribunal has ordered that the former governor Orji Kalu vacate. I think they ordered a re-election in that seat.
So that means he should vacate, because he should stop parading himself as a senator. If there's going to be a re-election, that means his seat there is null and void. And he is the chief whip. I don't know where this leaves the APC. I don't know.
But according to the tribunal, a couple of local governments elections were not conducted in the local governments, and then they went ahead and declared him winner. And the tribunal is saying now, no, you have to reconduct elections in this, places, and maybe he would go back to appeal. Who knows?
Of course, because it's just the tribunal. Cases like this always end up at the Supreme Court. It just brings to mind, I was having this discussion a couple of days with a colleague, and we're like expressing the concern about the judiciary having to be the ones deciding who governs Nigeria. It's no longer Nigerians. It's no longer the electorate. The electorate goes there, do whatever they have to do, exercise their franchise, and at the end of the day, all these things get upturned, and it's the judiciary that actually decides who occupies this position. So why don't we abolish elections?
You're really the judicial system. If at some point our judiciary understands the position they hold in the federal organogram or whatever I would say, you would know that the judiciary is the hope of the common masses.
Okay, so we should say
yes,
they are the hope for the leadership
of Nigeria. They are the hope of leadership. They are the ones that at the end of the day we take our cries to and we expect. So if you say judiciary, once you have a judicial system that works perfectly well, it is a happy nation.
And it's really a source of worry that at every elections, it has to really end up in court. Almost all the seats are being contested. Almost all the losers. Is it a case of bad losers, or what are we really having in Nigeria, that we can't just have an election and then the results will be free and fair and adopted by all? You see the loser hugging the winner. I mean, it's happened to some other places, but in Nigeria, it's hardly the
I think, Mr. Charles, that shows you the loopholes of what we need to fix in our electoral system. We still have a lot of way to go to conquer in our electoral system. And also in a situation whereby the winner takes it all, everybody wants to be the winner. Nobody wants to be by the side. But in some countries, it's good to be an opposition, because at the end of the day, you're able to see what you should do better when you come into power.
And then also it brings to question the independence of our independent National Electoral Commission, and then of the effectiveness of that body in elections. If every decision they make has to be upturned by the judiciary. So what are they doing then? Because it doesn't make sense. Didn't they really look at all the pros and cons before declaring this guy a winner and issuing certificate of return? And then a tribunal is upturning it. Probably if it sustains till the Supreme Court, that means it's an indictment.
And as this thing is going, the taxpayers' money is going to, because the tribunal is set up by the government. Just like you said, I totally agree with you there. I think our national electoral system, the INEC, I beg your pardon, has to really get their work doing. Because there's a lot of questions arising on the independence of INEC itself. Are they really independent, as the Constitution
That's the big
says?
Question. And then there is their actions always end up. A lot of international organizations that monitor the elections, many of the reports they give at the end of the day, many of them exactly. We are just against what the INEC did, what they didn't do. A lot. It was more on the side of what they failed to do, rendering doubts on the credibility of most of the results that INEC declared, and the winners who had already celebrated are having their seats taken out of them. I think we saw a case also in Ebonyi yesterday. There was also a PDP lawmaker there that lost his seat to the tribunal. In that case, they ordered that the APC should be sworn in immediately. There was no space for a run. And then the governor of Kaduna State, he was in his own, so it's congratulations all the way in Kaduna. And I don't know, maybe the PDP will be going to court.
Yes, well, we're also waiting for the presidential tribunal to see what they come up with.
That is
the judgment everybody's
waiting for right now, and a lot has been in the news. If actually in the course of this program, we will be showing what Nigerians really think, because our correspondent did go out to the street to get the feelers of Nigerians. What are the expectations from that presidential elections tribunal? Because it appears it's an election on its own going on.
Exactly. Everybody is excited and waiting for that. Anyway, we will have a lot of programs coming up on Daybreak this morning. But before then, Mr. Charles, my co-host, will be going straight to the headline news. Stay with us.
All right.
Cut a slice of the north-central Nigeria with its raw mix of cultures, treasures, and amazing people. Bask in the vibrant glory of the beauty of nature with striking landscapes. And that's the best from agriculture.
Many thanks for staying tuned. Here are the top stories making the rounds on the AM News on Daybreak Africa. The National and State Assembly Elections Petition Tribunal sitting in Umuahia, Abia State, has ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission to conduct a supplementary elections within 90 days in 8 wards in Arochukwu local government area and several polling units in Ohafia and Itukwata local government areas where votes were cancelled during senatorial elections in Abia North Senatorial District. The 3-man tribunal, led by Justice Cornelius Akintayo, ordered the supplementary election while giving judgment in a petition brought before it by the candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the election, Mao Wabunwa, who had challenged the victory of the Senate Chief Whip, Oji Otokalo, in the senatorial election. The tribunal also ordered a rerun election for the Abia North Senatorial District, while until the annulment, Kalu was the senator representing Abia North at the National Assembly. Wife of Nigeria's popular musician Timi Dakolo, Busola Dakolo, has denied making any claims for compensation from founder of Commonwealth of Zion Assembly, KOZA, Pastor Biodun Afatoimbo, who she accused of raping her 20 years ago. The clarification was made by her lawyer, Belumi Olajembesi, stating that the 10 million naira quoted by the media is the cost of the action carried out by her lawyers, to wit, litigation fee. According to him, the clarification became necessary following the misinformation being circulated in print and social media on the pending suit filed by his client. In a related development, an FCT High Court may subpoena the senior pastor of Kingsway International Christian Center, Pastor Matthew Ashimolowo, as he has been listed among the witnesses Busola Dakolo will be using to establish her case in the suit against the senior pastor of Commonwealth of Zion Assembly, Biodun Fatoimbo. The FCT High Court, in a writ of summons obtained on Monday, dated September 6th, and served on Fatoimbo, ordered the accused to appear before it within 14 days of the service, or judgment may be given in his absence. Busola, through her lawyers, Belumi Olajembesi and Co., is seeking the order of the court to compel Fatoimbo to publish a clearly worded apology to Busola on the front pages of at least 2 national newspapers and 2 national televisions for 7 days consecutively running. Residents of some parts of Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital, have vacated their homes following incessant attacks and harassments by hoodlums suspected to be cultists. Areas mostly affected, according to investigations, are School Road, Itu Road, Ikot Ekan, Church Road, Nelson Mandela Street, Ikot Ndem Street, Udrete Street, among others. These areas are situated within the axis of the University of Uyo and the Uyo City Polytechnic, a privately owned tertiary institution. Findings reveal that residents of these areas live in morbid fear due to the deadly operations of suspected cultists who invade houses and shops with guns, machetes, and other weapons, both day and night. As a way of ensuring proper enforcement of the state's environmental laws and avert possible flooding in the state, Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State has approved the formation of environmental tribunals. Additionally, arrangement is in top gear to conduct the first environmental summit, where all stakeholders whose activities impact on the environment will seek to generate solutions to environmental challenges facing the state in order to make it safer and more hygienic. The revelations were made on Monday by the State Commissioner for Environment and Natural Resources, Kehinde Ayola, during a press conference on flood alert and preparedness of Ibadan metropolis held at the Film Theatre of the Ministry of Information, Mass Mobilization, Culture and Tourism, Agodi Secretariat, Ibadan. Up next is the business report, and Chinwendu Usitiogu is standing by.
Welcome to TV and Business on Television Nigerian. I'm Chirandu Osisiago. The Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency on Sunday said Nigeria currently has 83,898,511 liters of aviation fuel. It also said the country has 210,850,457 liters of petrol. The Executive Secretary, PPRA, Abdulkadir Sadi, who stated this in Abuja, explained that the country presently has 38 days sufficiency of aviation fuel. He said available data after the close of work on Friday indicated that the inland stock stood at 40,032,066.67 liters, while marine stock stood at 43,866,444.44. On the availability of PMS, the PPRA boasts intel that between Monday and Friday last week, the country was supplied 210,850,457. He said diesel discharges were also made into the country, adding that the breakdown showed a total supplies of 32,807,483 liters of diesel were delivered. Nigeria and Cameroon have agreed to strengthen trade relationship to enhance free flow of goods and services while using the small and medium enterprises of both countries to achieve this. To achieve this, the federal government, through the Small and Medium Development Agency and the Standard Organization of Nigerian (SAN), has stated that the strengthening of ties with Cameroon on the development of micro, small, and medium enterprises of both countries. The organization said that the weekend that the initiative is also to facilitate a seamless exchange of goods and services between both countries in conjunction with the Small and Medium Enterprises Promotion Agency and the Standards and Quality Agency, both of Cameroon. SMIADA Director of Policy, Partnership and Coordination, Dr. Friday Opara, said the visit was at the instance of SMIAPA as part of their tour to the country. A canvas and open exchange of ideas to enable the SMAPA delegation gained from Nigerians' rich experience in standardization and quality assurance support to small enterprises. The Managing Director of Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN Usman Muhammad, has said part of the $1.66 billion secured from the World Bank and Japan International Cooperation Agency is being used to develop and upgrade facilities within the Lagos-Osun State axis. He said the cash is highest grant that has ever been received in the power sector, adding that it raised $1.661 billion so far for investment in transmission and are putting it across the country. The TCN chief said the company has been using part of the fund to carry out interventions in transmission arm of the power value chain across the country. He said one of such interventions is within Lagos and Osun State, Ogun State, which are the nation's industrial hub. He stated that with the fund, the firm has raised the capacity of transmission from 5,000 megawatts to 8,100 megawatts at the last stipulation done in December last year. And that's what we have for you today on TVN Business Updates. I am Chiwende Osisiego.
Thanks so much, Chiwendo, for that business update. And that's the much we have for you on the AM News segment of Daybreak Africa. The program continues now as we take you across African frontiers for news across Africa. Stay tuned.
A beautiful morning from the nation's capital, Abuja. This is news across Africa on your favorite program, Daybreak Africa. I am Samuel Akpan. In Tanzania, all trade and business has been banned inside the country's main camp for Burundian refugees. Residents of Nyaragusu's camp say with their only source of income gone and no access to farmland, they fear they will be forced to return to Burundi. More than 200,000 Burundians have taken refuge in Tanzania since 2015, when President Pierre Nkurunziza's announcement that he will run for a further term sparked protests by opposition supporters who said the move was unconstitutional. Nkurunziza, who had been in power since 2005, won the July 2015 election. Most of those who fled settled in camps in southwestern Tanzania. Nyarugusu's camp alone is home to more than 50,000 Burundian refugees. But last month, Tanzania Interior Minister said their Burundian refugees will be repatriated from 1st October, whether they wanted to go or not. Campaign group Amnesty says it is concerned that the refugees are not being asked for their consent. The Air Force of the Libyan Army under Presidential Council Government Command has carried out 3 airstrikes in Khalifa Haftar's forces in Gaza Benghazi in southern Tripoli, destroying an artillery launcher and killing operation fighters believed to be foreigners. The Field Operations Room in Tripoli said the Libya Air Force of the Presidential Council government had been on the look for more movement of Haftar's forces, the lines of their suppliers to eventually strike them with precision. Anti-Haftar media outlets said days ago that the mercenaries from Russia and Ukraine arrived in Jufra Air Base where Haftar forces are in control, adding that they are part of a security firm contracted by the United Arab Emirates to support Haftar's forces in their attacks on Tripoli. Meanwhile, the commander of Zara frontline, Yusuf Al-Amin, said calm has prevailed on Monday in the district after recent advances of Libya army against Haftar's forces. President Museveni has promised better pay for public servants and said that the first beneficiaries of the intended salary raise will be teachers, doctors, police and soldiers. The president made the remarks while addressing 4,000 primary teachers who met for the second National Primary Teachers Day at St. Lawrence College in Maya Wakiso district last Friday. However, the president did not provide timeline on when he will fulfill the salaries improvement pledge. The Rwandan government will on Tuesday sign an agreement to host 500 refugees from Libya. The deal, which will be signed in Kigali between the government, the African Union and the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, according to a notice from the Ministry of Emergency Management. This follows a commitment by the government in 2017 to host African refugee trap in Libya as European nations step up migrant controls. President Paul Kagame made the commitment following damning revelations that tens of thousands of people from across Africa were not only stranded in Libya after they failed bid to reach Europe, but many of them were being subjected to slavery. South African companies have partaken in an outward trade and investment mission on Monday in Angola, an initiative of the Department of Trade and Industry. Outward Trade and Investment Mission will see 25 local companies partake in the trade mission through the Department Export Marketing and Investment Assistance Scheme. The mission aims to promote South African value-added products and services while creating partnership between the business communities of the two countries. That's the much we have for you on News Across Africa. Join us tomorrow for another edition of the program. I am Samuel Akpan.
Thank you, Mr. Charles, for that AM news. Yeah.
And thank you, Africa, for listening and watching. Still keep joining us on the program.
It's Daybreak Africa, reaching you live from Television Nigeria, Gusape Hills, Abuja. And right now, we'll be getting straight to one of my favorite segments on Daybreak Africa, the healthy living. Yes, a lot of us need to know how to stay healthy. And it's very important because they say health is wealth. Yeah, a healthy man is a wealthy man. So right now we'll be going straight where Lillian Ambi is standing by to give us tips on hernia. Stay with us. Welcome to another episode of Healthy Living. I am Lillian Ambi. Today I'll be talking on the topic hernia. Hernia develops when a section of your intestine or other tissues in your abdomen pushes through a layer of muscles that has become weakened. Most often, this happens when part of your intestine pushes your abdominal wall towards the outside of your body. This is called an external hernia, and it usually affects the lower abdomen and groin. Not all hernias, though, are preventable. There are certain factors outside your control, such as prior abdominal surgery and muscle weakness, that are born with that can lead to hernia no matter what preventive steps you take. Ultimately, all hernias are caused by a combination of pressure and an opening or weakness of your muscle or fascia. The pressure pushes an organ or tissues through the opening or weakened spots. Sometimes the muscle weakness is present at birth. More often, it occurs later in life. Anything that causes an increase in pressure in their abdomen can cause hernia, including lifting heavy objects without stabilizing the abdominal muscle, diarrhea or constipation, persistent coughing or sneezing. In addition, obesity, poor nutrition, and smoking can all weaken muscles and make hernia more likely. Steps that can help prevent hernia include maintaining a healthy body weight. When you are overweight or obese, your abdomen wall is constantly under pressure from your extra body fat. Whatever you stand or move around, losing weight is easier to recommend than to actually do. But talk to your doctor about developing an exercise and diet plan that works for you. Get enough rest. Exercise, being physically active in certain ways
has been shown to help prevent hernia, but other types of exercise can put too much pressure on your abdomen. Incorporate high fiber foods into your diet. Fiber-rich foods can support regular bowel movement and help prevent constipation, which can lead to straining that increase hernia risks. If needed, take other steps to avoid constipation. Taking a fiber supplement or bulk forming laxative like mineral milk, milk of magnesia, staying well hydrated is also essential to avoiding constipation. Avoid heavy lifting or do it carefully. If you have to lift a heavy object, bend down on your knees instead of your waist. And if an object is too heavy for you to lift comfortably, know your limit and don't do it. Don't smoke. Smoking can cause coughing, which can put pressure on your abdomen and lead to an hernia or worsen symptoms in one that you already have. See a doctor when you have a persistent cough. Because coughing can lead to or aggravate a hernia, it's important to get these symptoms under control. Whenever you have an infection or other condition that causes it, including asthma, get treated if you have an enlarged prostate. Having an enlarged prostate can lead to straining during urination, which can increase pressure in your abdomen. Signs of enlarged prostate may include waking up twice or more each night to urinate, straining to make your urine flow faster, and straining to empty your bladder at the end of urination. Thanks for watching today's episode. A healthy man is a wealthy man. Your health is of utmost priority.
Many thanks for still staying tuned, and if you're just joining us, this is Daybreak Africa, and this is that interesting and exciting time when we'll get to the newspapers to find out what they are actually printing, what is happening around us, around the world, and most especially in Abuja. And as always, we have the newsman in the building. Newsman.
The newsman is in the building. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lucy.
Alright, so what's printing?
What's printing? A lot of stories.
It looks like you don't really want to touch the newspapers. Like
He's folding his hands and looking at the newspapers. Yeah.
No, it's really because this is the period where the election this tribunal is winding down, and a lot of judgments have been coming in,
yes,
and a lot of hearts have been breaking, and I think more hearts. The major heartbreak is coming on Friday. So
really?
And more people's hearts are going to be broken on Friday.
Friday, what's happening on Friday?
That is the presidential petition election tribunal.
I wanted you to say it so that they hear it.
Alright, so that is what is happening on Friday, and everybody's looking forward to that. But before we get to that, we're still on the issues of the lesser xenophobia attacks in South Africa. There's still that, and then other stories that have been making rounds in Nigeria. And you also listen to talk about the Shiite movement that are going to carry on a procession during so all of that are happening. But maybe I should start off today's review from the blueprints. Today's blueprints, the story that made it to the front page here is xenophobia. Buhari receives special envoy's reports, orders evacuation of Nigerians. Attacks, threat to Africa's economic growth. 640 Nigerians eager to return. This is from the presidency. Edo Deputy Governor hails Buhari quick response. That story, you find it on page 6, the full details of it. And the picture story there is that of the governor of Ekiti State and his counterpart in Rivers, Governor Yesun Wike, when they went on a tour to assess the alleged site that a mosque was allegedly demolished. And below the picture story, tribunal affirms El-Rufai's election, sacks Oji Kalu. That's also on page 6. Again, proscribed IMN police on warpath over procession. Get more details of that on page 28. Gunmen kidnapped 6 on Abuja Kaduna Expressway. And that expressway have become a playground for the kidnappers and bandits. Find that story on page 5. Politicians destroying public varsities for private ones. This is ASU alleging here. Details of that on page 8. Ekiti female genital mutilators surrender equipment. That is on page 5. Keke Nape owners to Masari give us loans to handle bandits. How do they intend to do that? You'll find that detail on page 5. EFCC's intervention gave credibility to 2019 general election. Who is saying this? That is from the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and you find that on page 6. Sirika reads Riot Act to aviation security staff. More details on page 34, and that is all on the front page of the Blueprints newspaper for today. And that's it.
Really loaded.
Actually loaded. And this story of the Governor Yesun Wike in Rivers State, now that story about a mosque being demolished, you would expect that after coming out to show proof, after even those that actually started spreading the rumor came out to say no mosque was demolished, still that did not get the kind of reception that the first news was got at that moment. And it is still on that, and we will find out that following from that, the governor of Kano State was saying he was going to sue his River State counterparts for demolishing a mosque that never happened and all of that. And it has, despite all this, it has still been generating controversies, which is why Governor Fayemi had to visit Rivers as the governors forum, the chairman of the governors forum, to go there and assess, to show him that, look, this is where we destroyed, and there was no mosque here, and what we had here was just people who erected a fence on the land that they were not supposed to erect, and that is all. So it just goes to show the dangers in one way of how people use social media, because this fake news was actually propagated using
in the social media.
Using social media.
But that brings me to does the governor not have right to demolish whether it's a mosque or a church that is erected in a wrong place?
They do. It happened in I think Kaduna State. There was a lot of demolition of mosques and churches.
So
the
why
governor
should
felt they were illegally sited, and the whole world didn't come to an end. I wonder.
Exactly.
And then, like you just rightly pointed out about the fake news issue, I think more attention should really be focusing on the use of the social media. I think when maybe when one or two people are taking up on the account of what they peddled.
Yes.
Maybe
some
that
people take and I also heard I think it was Dokubo Asari or something. I don't know whether that was also another fake news, but it was trending that he was threatening to bring down, or that the governor demolished a mosque where he worships, that he was going to bring fire and bring brimstone.
Anyway, for me, I think the thing that captured me there is also, what the president said earlier during his second tenure about religious leaders, about politicians using religion to actually cause chaos in the community. Because where I'm standing is, whether the governor demolished a mosque or a church, if it's erected in the wrong place, the governor has the right to bring it down.
That religion is such a sensitive issue in Nigeria that people will expect that every sense of reasoning, everything that is good should be less and relegated to the background for religion to thrive and all of that. So it means that even if it's built on a wrong structure, even if it's built in a way that is going to endanger the lives of the worshippers in that particular place, and then the government comes to destroy, and people will say, why are you destroying it?
But I think we need to correct that motion as people, and we need to know that it's, being a good citizen, it's also being a good member of whatever you worship, the community.
I think generally the country will have to start paying less attention to religion in the first place, because you always know that there is a clear lesson distinctions between religions and then your personal relationship with God. So I think if we reduce the emphasis on religion and all of that, which is why I always say that, for example, the government can hands off and abolish anything that has to do with lesson pilgrimage. Yes, all the Hajj and listen Jerusalem pilgrimage, you have to stop that. And I was also wondering, why would a country have to build a national mosque and a national church for the country? And I think those were, in fact, in my own opinion, I was like, you see, like those two, if I were to be in the position to make these things, either I set them off to Can, the church, I'll sell it off to Can if they are interested in buying, or I sell off the mosque to Murik if they're interested in buying. But in the case that nobody is interested to buying, I'll tell it to a hotel.
We are talking about selling it off. Those structures have been erected there. It's Can that manages it. It's the Murik that manages the mosque. So government has absolutely nothing to do with
I think
those
there's
places.
nothing wrong. My point is
the name just have to change.
Victor, I understand where you're coming from, but the point is, of course, any nation has to count on God, because God is the supreme being.
In God we trust. Whether
we are Muslims or Christians or Buddhists, there's a supreme being that we believe brought us here. But the most important thing is people understanding that you're a human being. It's very important whether you worship God or you worship some other thing. The most important thing is, I think even in the Bible it said the greatest of all laws is to love your neighbor as you've loved yourself.
And that neighbor might be any of any
exactly
religion.
As far as it's a human being standing next to, I think we should preach more of not having that self relationship with God than propagating religion.
It's very what do you call it? It's very nice. It makes sense what you're saying, but at the same time, when I look at it, is that you now have people of different religions who have different kind of beliefs, ideology. So what you might be saying might not really go in tandem with what they believe, what they understand. And
well, you can never remove that from, as long as you're in line. You can never agree with everybody.
It's just like APC, PDP, other parties. So it's still the same thing. At the end of the day,
even within the family, you still find out, like for instance, football. The father is Chelsea, the mother is Arsenal, the son is Man U. But that doesn't stop them from being a family.
Exactly.
Well, understand that.
I think that's why we need to start looking at the religion aspect of.
And I think on the final part would be the envoy that have come back with their report from South Africa, and then I think the president was waiting for that, and now that they've gotten it, he's acting towards it, which is ordering the evacuation of Nigerians, those that are willing to return. And when you look at it, the fact that they say we have close to hundreds of thousands of Nigerians in South Africa, and then to find out that only 640 are willing to come back, makes me want to question if indeed we have hundreds of thousands of Nigerians in South Africa.
I don't think that report is actually true, because I recently, in the last week, there was a report, a concise listing of the numbers of people, foreigners in South Africa. Nigeria, I don't think we are up to 100.
I saw 27,000.
It's something like that. So hundreds of thousands, I think, is a kind of overbloated.
And I think the majority of people coming down are people who have visa issues.
Yes.
Paper issues and things majorly. Like that.
And besides, it's not all Nigerians they are not all in the place where these things are.
Some people are in Joburg, you know. Yeah.
It's one particular region. Those that stay in white suburbs, they don't have this problem.
And then the Edo Deputy Governor hailing the president's quick response. A lot of Nigerians want to question his own definition of quick response.
No, but I think the president, a lot of people will be of the opinion that the president actually reacted fast.
Okay.
You know, because I feel before the president could make a move, he has to, you know, get the news right. You can even some of the videos that we saw online. Yeah. We've heard news that they were not correct. They were not right.
And if you ask me, I actually applaud Nigeria as a whole, the way it handled this whole issue. Or that it would have been different, you understand? The maturity, the handle, even containing the reprisal attacks in Nigeria, the swift action at bringing those people that were arrested to book, just kind of teaching South Africa, look,
this is how you run things.
Exactly, that's true.
I'm sure South Africa must have learned a very big lesson from the way Nigeria handled.
Oh, and just talking about that, the defense minister of South Africa came out and said they cannot stop the lessons xenophobia attacks going on. And it now seems as if Nigeria and South Africa are in the same WhatsApp group.
All right, we'll be going straight to the punch. And the screaming headlines there says, Buhari receives envoy to South Africa, orders evacuation of 640 Nigerians. And the bit of rider there, Air Peace designate 2 planes for operation. Nigeria shouldn't be second-class citizens anywhere. That's the president standing up for the citizens, and you can get the full details of this on page 2. And we have a picture story there of our beautiful pupils from different schools yesterday, resuming school yesterday in Lagos. And we have, below the picture story there, we have Bajamila appoints Ganduje's daughter as aide. The full details of this is continued on page 26. And on page 26 also we have We're Ready to Die at Benue Government House. This is by pensioners. And on page 11, kidnappers release Kaduna's bishop's children 34 days after. That's a good one coming from Kaduna there. And below that we have 12 die in Nasarawa Bauchi crashes, ATBU students injured. The full details of this is continued on page 4 and 5 of the Punch. And on page 3 we have Will Falana's magic word free Sarah away from DSS grip. To get all the full details of this, it's on page 3. I paid 8.9 billion naira day before handover. This is by the ex-governor of Bauchi. To get the full details, you can go to page 13. And below the marks head, we have border closure has reduced petrol smuggling, says NMPC. The full details of this is continued on page 24. Jonathan accused me of being Buhari's boy. This is by the former Attorney General, I think. Adoke, you can get the full details of this on page 12. FG plots to kill people, implicates Shiites. This is by the set. You can get the full details of this on page 26. On page 9, we have use your diversity for development. This is by the Sultan. I didn't demand 10 million from Fatoyinbo. This is by Busola Dakolo, I beg your pardon. You can get the full details on page 9. And finally, on page 12, we have some people plotting to set Nigeria on fire. This is by the DSS, and this is about what we have on the front page of the Punch this morning.
Okay. What's the big news there?
The Punch is actually loaded, actually. It's basically, and talking about the border closure, that NNPC is coming out to say it has reduced the smuggling of petrol. And have they considered what impact it has had on the citizens trying to come into the country?
Well, I think they were more concerned of counting their own benefits.
Yes.
Exactly, because I feel if you can't hold citizens and make them go through this kind of thing because you want to control something you can't control in the first place, it's a bit of
Well, let's move on. It's all about the people. So the next paper we have is People's Daily. People's Daily is going with a screaming headline: Buhari orders monitoring of South Africa's compliance on truce with the riders, assures safety of South African lives, property, businesses, xenophobic attacks, looting, denting our image. That's the Cyril Ramaphosa, South African president, speaking there. You can get the details on page 5 of the People's Daily newspaper. Above that, directly below the masthead, you have Mugabe for burial Sunday. You can get the details on page 3. DSS, subversive groups, individuals planning to set Nigeria ablaze. Who are these people? Well, get to find out details on page 7 of the People's Daily. Fake degree, NYSC deregisters 100 core members in Kano. The details on page 4. And of course, we have a picture story there, a lot of smiling men and a young lady there. You have to go to the People's Daily to find out who they are and actually what is making them smile. But below that picture story, we have Tribunal nullifies election of Senate Chief Whip Orji Kalu. The details on page 5. Planned IMN street march. Today is terrorism. The police screaming out there, loud and clear. With the rider, say Shiite group remains proscribed. Find the details on page 5 of the People's Daily, and that's about what they have on the front page. And of course, there is so much written in the middle pages and of course at the back page, but you have to get to the People's Daily first to get the juicy details. Now, fake degree, 100 deregistered in Kano call. I mean, it's funny, and it's a kind of it's a throwback on the unemployment situation in Nigeria. People are ready to do anything to ensure that they get some kind of
certification.
Not just certification. I mean, because you score for that year, you are going to be paid. You'll be getting a lot of.
So I see.
Yeah, so you cannot find that angle also applies. At least you know that, and now they are going to increase once they implement it 30,000.
30,000.
So
you'll be getting 30,000.
You didn't go to school, but now you have NYC, and then for 1 year you will be collecting 30,000, and then you have posting somewhere where they must be giving some stipends.
It might shock you to find out that there might be real serial NYC members. This year they serve in Kano, next year they serve in Jigawa, the other one in Abia.
Wow.
They keep serving.
So they run an industry of serving.
And some people are running away from youth service. Some people are serving and serving. Wow.
So and again, you also need to, but again, let us look from the other side that what if there are people who genuinely just want to possess these degrees because they couldn't have the opportunity of going to school, so they just wanted these fake degrees to pose around as graduates and get jobs that perhaps they're not qualified for, or they feel that only if they have
but in that case they would have just gone to wherever and printed it and photocopy it and put it in their house or something.
Yeah, but
taking it to
you need to go and look for, you need to go and look
pay.
for a job with it, and then you know how it is. Once you're a graduate,
Okay,
where's your
NYSC
NYSC discharge certificate?
Okay.
So you understand that. And then when you look at it, if that is the case, if that happens to be the case, then we also look at it that it is based on our focus on certificates,
yeah.
as a means for someone to succeed or become successful in life.
And then in line with that, what doesn't it ring a bell somewhere? Kemi Adelson.
No, but listen, Kemi's situation wasn't a fake degree; it was just a fake exemption. And yes,
but
NYSC
it's a certification all the same.
Yes,
fake degree, fake NYSC certificate, fake.
So one of those things that we lay too much emphasis on certification, people to get degree, when we know that there are other industries that can employ people. You could have
like technical
thing. You can be a builder, this a construction engineer without even necessarily having to go to school and all that, and then you'll be living so fine, and you'll not be so pressuring yourself about I don't have a degree.
But the thing is that why I think the thing is education takes you to another level of exposure.
Does.
And
you see, understand this? Why I say this thing is secondary school. Government is supposed to like make it necessary that primary and secondary school is supposed to be necessary for everybody. University is not supposed to be necessary. It's not compulsory.
Just like
it's just a privilege.
In America, they don't pay so much attention.
So if you are able to go, you are supposed to go. Your primary and secondary school is supposed to equip you with the skills enough for you to succeed and survive in the society.
Oh, okay, that's a good one there. And we have now the Daily Times, and the screaming headlines there says Ahura procession. DSS police shouts set for shutdown. We hope that doesn't happen. And we have a bit of rider there. Your planned procession act of terrorism. DSS police warn IMN. Annual march, our religious constitutional rights group claims. The full details of this is continued on page 4. And we have a picture story there of the NYSC presenting a portrait to the FCT Minister of State yesterday in Kuba, Abuja. And below the picture story, we have CBN orders banks to remove interest rates cap on goods and services. The full details of this is continued on page 24. On xenophobia, Ezekwesili, Nigerians in South Africa demand apology from Ramaphosa. The full details of this is continued on page 4. And on page 25, we have labor-intensive light manufacturing would attract FDIS orders, says Afrexim Bank's boss. And on page 12, we have Uba brothers lose as tribunal upholds Uba Ekunife's elections. And next to the head marks there, we have on xenophobia again, federal government begins evacuation of Nigerians from South Africa. 320 Nigerians to land at Lagos airport, says Air Peace boss, as fresh attacks breaks out in Joburg. The full details of this is continued on page 7. And finally, on page 7 too, we have Shell loses 202 million naira daily to vandals, oil thieves. This is by the GM. That's about what we have on the front page of the Daily Times this morning. And this DSS and Shites issue that keeps coming up, this their rule.
Well, I think it's today, so we'll see how that goes. But then it means that people around here is going to be this. I just have to be careful and mind to avoid that.
Be security conscious.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I should just go to the last paper for the day, which is The Nation. And The Nation and the Daily Times have almost the same story. So it's like if you get The Nation, you also get Daily Times. So I'll just take a few differences here. And above the masthead, Ashimolowu to testify against Koza pastor. That story is on page 7. And beside that is Senator Tinubu El-Rufai win, Kalu loses. And Everton to bring Iwobi back to form. You'll find that story on page 45. Otom ashamed for not paying retirees. who is saying this. You'll find more details of that on page 41. Chaos as British Airways cancels flights. And that story is on page 44. And at the bottom strip there, burial for Robert Mugabe on Sunday. That is also on page 44. Banks reject costly deposit. You will get that on page 11. The picture story there is that of the students of Government Secondary School, Gariki, at the resumption of school yesterday. And you find it, there's another interesting story inside. Bandits surrender arms in Katsina. You find that story on page 44. Just as 11 were killed in Nasarawa crash. That is on page 41. And that is all on the front page of the Nation newspaper for today.
Well, the quick one that grabbed me there, Ashimolowo to testify against Koza pastor. Do we have a kingdom divided against itself?
No. So, I think since the case got to court, so you know you have to prove your case, and she listed that is impossible because she listed him as one of her witnesses. And you
so
can understand.
Was he actually going to testify that yes, you did rape her?
Perhaps he knew about it. Perhaps he told
I
her
don't
when
think
it
I don't
happened
think
or
it's
something.
him saying that he raped. I know you raped her, but I heard the story. She
Yes,
told me
something,
at
that
certain
sort of
point.
thing,
Because I
yes.
think in her story she was saying at certain point she was
opened
able to
up
confide in
some people,
in some people.
So he might be one of those.
But
And then one thing about these pastors is you know that you get to find out that most of them together started somewhere together.
Yes.
So there is likelihood that
all of them knew
the same
each other somehow.
kind of background, and yes. So
well, let's see
how it goes.
All right, that's the much we can take on the newspapers this morning. There are a lot of newspapers out there, but these were the ones that the newsman had to bring to us in the studio. So please do go out there and go to the newsstands and pick up the newspapers and read. Like we always say on this platform, a newspaper a day drives away ignorance. You have to read it first so that you don't peddle false news, fake news, or however you used to call it. Thanks so much, newsman, for coming up. And thank you also for staying tuned. Right now, we will be going to Africa. It is Daybreak Africa. We are taking our next stop to Cameroon. And this time, we are looking at this wonderful value chain, a bit of agriculture there, talking about cassava. Let's find out what cassava is to Cameroonians on this package, Amazing Africa.
These farmers in Bouer, southwestern Cameroon, have been harvesting cassavas all their lives. But this season is different. They are expecting better returns. The farmers are part of a program run by AgroHub, an agricultural marketing agency working to help communities earn higher profits. The organization links growers to markets and processing food crops like cassava into value-added goods. AgroHub works with over 10,000 small-scale farmers in the country.
To AgroHub, what do I benefit from them? They start first for train us from the fee, because we'll be the same market anyhow. So, and they bring expert for train we how to process cassava and how the ancestors find way for market for we.
Cassava is one of the most drought-tolerant crops and can be grown on marginal soils. This is according to the Food and Agriculture Organization. The crop gives good yields where many crops cannot do well, but its fresh fruits do not keep well and can go bad about 4 days after harvest. Processing is a good way to increase its shelf life. AgroHub is showing Banga Women's Association how to process cassava into flour and various other products like a local staple known as gari, a type of tapioca or flex for sale. Members of Mbanga's Women's Association learn how to extract the starch from the cassava using a manual press machine.
We had very many difficulties because from farm when you come back to go and grind, you walk miles. But now that we have profit this machine, we grind only a stone throw, and at least we feel better. We are feeling fine because the machine is really doing very great things in the life of women.
Gari is made from cassava pulp by fermenting it for about 5 days and later roasting it in large pans to dry. Palm oil may be added to prevent the pulp from burning during roasting, giving it a yellow color. The gari is sold in local markets and to buyers who come from neighboring countries like Nigeria and Gabon. It's usually served hot with accompaniment of stew or relish as a West African delicacy.
Cassava, in 2009, I discovered that cassava is a product that grows nearly everywhere. It's consumed by 8.9 million Cameroonians every day, its byproduct. And I found out that most farmers do cassava not as a crop for the market. They try to do it for their homes.
Cassava has over 300 derivative products. According to the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, 37% of Africa's dietary comes from cassava. Per capita consumption on the continent is close to 80 kilograms per year. Besides being consumed as food, it is also used in the textile industry, according to AgroHub. The white pasty substance is sold for use in textile processing as a stiffening agent. About 70% of employment in Cameroon is related to agriculture. But most farmers lack the finances and technology needed to make their business profitable.
In the late 70s and early 80s, there was a program called the Green Revolution. Everybody was doing good at agriculture in Cameroon. But what we have seen is a gradual shift from agriculture into politics, agriculture into any other secular businesses. Why? Because the youths find agriculture as not cool anymore. The government don't support the agriculture. They don't even give subvention to farmers enough for them to be able to compete. So people see agriculture now in Cameroon as a thing for the poor.
Economists reckon adding value to crops grown primarily for household consumption could be revolutionary in lifting Africa's small-scale farmers out of poverty.
Thanks so much for staying tuned. A wonderful package there on agriculture. Now you know how that wonderful Gary, how that wonderful Eba, how so much value chain from cassava. You might have to try it out if you have not actually already started thinking about agriculture as the next step for upkeep, for a growth in the GDP. Now, we did mention earlier when we started about something coming up on Friday, Tribunal. A lot of hearts will be breaking, a lot of congratulations in the making. Well, all eyes is now on the Presidential Elections Tribunal as it is set to deliver its judgment on the petitions filed by the People's Democratic Party and its candidate Atiku Abubakar, challenging the election of President Muhammadu Buhari. Our correspondent Samuel Atman was in the streets of Abuja to get the expectation of Nigerians on the anticipated judgment. Let's see.
Okay, the much anticipated Presidential Election Petition Tribunal is set to deliver its judgment this week. So as usual, we are in the street of Abuja to get the opinions of Nigeria as to what they expect from the Presidential Election Tribunal judgment.
Election has always come and gone, and we expect tribunals to do the right thing. You know, we are all Nigerians, and I think both parties are working towards Nigerian progress. So any one of them that is successful in the tribunal, they should just come and forge ahead. We don't want any rancor here and there. They should personally handle Nigeria with care. We don't have any other country like Nigeria. Judiciary must do the right thing. We expect good things to come out of the judgment anytime soon.
We are expecting them to do justice to the country and to the citizens of the country because they have seen the situation on the ground with regard to security or insecurity and the economic situation of the country. So we are hoping they should have the fear of God and make a very good judgment without fear or favor or any personal bias.
Okay, the first thing that we have to consider is the evidence that is put before them. And also, I would say what should have initially caused a problem, which is the president of the Court of Appeal that was part of the panel initially. And I'm just happy that they had to reconsider, and she had to leave the panel, and another person had to take over. And I will say they should consider the evidence majorly, and also the witnesses that is being called. After all consideration, I just pray the best thing, the best party should come out, and there should not be any form of prejudice or any form of bias.
We need a formidable election tribunal judgment that will cut across all our the sectors, both the judiciary itself and all legal practitioners and institutions in the country. For them, it will be a kind of a litmus test for every one of them to follow, and then for better justice in the country and as a nation. Okay. I expect equity and fairness in their judgment. Actually, the evidences are there. You can't just, so far the date has been announced, before all the indices have been put in place. Talk about the evidences, the complaints, all what needs to be done has been done. We are only awaiting the judgment. So nothing but equity and fairness.
Expecting much from that because it has been we have been in all this for many years. Like if I can remember, the current president, right, himself was also in the tribunal for almost 3 terms, and he wasn't getting any position. What I understand with politics is once you get there, once they pronounce you as a winner of any election, now to get you out is very difficult. I don't know. Maybe this time around we are going to get any, but I'm not expecting much from the tribunal. Judges should be God-fearing and put their judgment based on the reality on ground or what become fiscal for them, because you can't give judgment on something you have no evidence or you yourself doesn't even. And we all like.
You've all heard the divergent views of Nigerians as to what they expect.
Wow, thank you so much for that, Vox Pop. It seems like everybody is actually really looking forward to this judgment. But at the end of the day, for us in Daybreak, it's for the citizens to get the right person they want. And already we have Uchechi Nlemoa with us in the studio this morning. Welcome.
And of course, whenever you see Uchechi Nlemoa,
I'm sure everybody already knows what Uchechi stands for.
We're going to talk a little bit of fashion, makeup, beauty, runways, and all the whatnots. And it's a women's world, if you ask me. No, even sometimes she talks about men.
Exactly.
She talks about
everything
men's fashion,
beautiful.
talks about beard gang.
Everything that has to do with fashion, definitely.
All right, so what are we having this morning?
Today we are going to be talking about makeup. It's a trend right now in the fashion world. Wow. And, some people go out there, they do makeup. They don't even know the origin of makeup. Wow. And then studies have shown that this makeup that everyone is so crazy about originated from Egypt. As the Egyptian women are the first people to wear makeup. And unlike today, when women wear makeup, probably some people say they try to use this makeup to attract the male counterpart. I don't know how true that is.
That's very true.
I don't really know. But then in the past, the Egyptian women, they were wearing makeup to please the cause.
Oh, really?
So,
not to attract the king or to attract the men, just for the gods.
Yeah, they actually wanted to look beautiful.
For the gods.
Yes.
Wow.
But today, I don't know if I should say that people who use makeup are trying to please the gods without knowing.
in fact, like you just mentioned it, in some religious sects or some religions really view putting on makeups like it's something like outlandish or something like, why should you paint your face? You've seen a lot of what is born again, like, so you have some born again Christians. They always frown at people wearing makeup on their faces.
Yes, definitely. I feel it's the fanatic type of Christians.
Really?
Because
Fanatics?
definitely, because even in the church, pastors' wives, they use makeup. So it's only when you go to places like, I don't want to mention names of churches, but I feel it's those people that are really fanatic. You know, they are the ones that preach against makeup.
Do you think, for me, really, what do you think about women who wear makeup to please other people? Does makeup actually show the beauty of a woman?
Yeah, actually, I feel the essence of makeup is to look beautiful. I don't think it's just to look beautiful for the guys. To me, if you ask me, I think it's part of packaging because it really has this courage. You know, when you're wearing makeup, you feel very good, you feel so confident. I think it's one of the reasons women wear this makeup.
So it's like an enhancement of what
yes.
they have. So, but what about, doesn't it become a problem when a woman cannot really step out of the house because she's not wearing makeup?
Then
She feels
I feel
incomplete because she cannot she's not wearing makeup.
Yeah, those are the people who are already addicted to it.
So makeup is prone to addiction. Yeah.
Definitely, there are some people out there who cannot, even when they are just going out there to the street to get like something like sweets or chewing gum or whatever, they cannot go with that makeup. They are already addicted to it.
So they should be needing some kind of therapy because actually, when you look at the time they spend sitting in front of the mirror thinking about creativity and all of that, though it's actually creative to draw all of these lines, it's artistic and all of that, and a lot of people get paid these days. Makeup artists get paid a lot of money.
It's very lucrative.
But then when you are not getting paid for it, why do you have to spend so much time trying to doll yourself
it
up?
makes you feel good as a woman.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, last time we're just asking guys what they feel about makeup, and some of them say they don't like women with makeup. Some say they just want a woman with a long hair, and some will tell you they just want a mild makeup, as little less can be more. You know, so that's why I say some of these women, they're not just doing this makeup to please the guys out there. They're just doing it for themselves. They just want to have that courage. They just want to be confident because it helps them to be.
Yeah, but I've had some conversations recently about some ladies that will tell you, well, you never can tell who I'm going to meet out there, so everything has to be on point. The makeup has to be, especially when you talk about weddings or social gatherings and all of that. Young ladies will not, even some married ones though, will not even don't dare step out without painting
their face.
Of course, wedding is a very
great event. But you're not telling us that it's not to attract the opposite.
Wedding is a very great event. Yes, you have to look good, and not just with using makeup, but then with your dresses and all. You just definitely have to look good.
But for the single ladies, they have to. It's on point because you never can tell if Mr. Right will come and he's and you're not wearing makeup.
Of course, by the time you're looking packaged, you know they say there's a saying that say the way you dress determines the way you are addressed. So you see, it's part of it.
So if you have your makeup on point, your bar, you raise the bar. Kind of.
Yeah, definitely. You know, there are some people who cannot even talk to. In fact, before they talk to, they have to go and do practice because of the way you are looking. And makeup is part of it. You know?
But Chechi, would you agree with me that some people who say that beauty comes from within, that no matter how much a makeup a lady wears, if she doesn't feel confident from within, the makeup will not be able to do that for her?
Yeah, practically that cannot be. It may not be realistic, you know, practically, because a lot of women are now into this makeup, and it has really taken their mind away from this assertion that beauty is from the within. So I don't think it's realistic.
All right, finally, before you go, Chechi, I've seen a lot of guys, you know, do say that the best time to actually know a woman is early in the morning when she wakes up. That's when you
when the makeups
are not there. You know, so a lot of guys who are looking for wives will not really subscribe to, because you might just see somebody in the morning, in the afternoon or in the evening, and then in the morning and you're like, hello, can I meet you? Because it's totally different. So don't you think it's counting against women to really, what about the natural woman kind of look?
I feel every woman is beautiful. Every woman is beautiful. It all depends on what you want. I don't think it's makeup that defines a beautiful woman. So, like I said before, men don't really like. Some men, I don't want to generalize. Some men don't really like when a woman has makeup all over her face. And then if a woman meets this kind of man, you know, she doesn't have a problem because already the man doesn't like a makeup. So when she removes the makeup, it doesn't make any difference, I feel.
All right. Thank you so much, Ichechi, for bringing the heat of makeup this morning in the studio. All right, up next, we'll have a birthday card trying to celebrate, talk about our celebrities who are born in the month of September. We're doing congratulations or happy birthday to all of them. That card is coming up next, and the program continues. Please stay tuned. Well, congratulations if you are born in the month of September. Lucy, when is your birthday?
Mine is actually December, where the
all the Ember months.
Yeah.
All right. So it's your season of celebrations.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing is that we celebrate all through because Christmas, everything is in the Ember month. So we're actually rounding up, and happy birthday to all the celebrities and the non-celebrities, of course, all our viewers at home who celebrated their birthday this month. We wish you all the best in life. And next is the sports update. Stay with us.
In sport, President Muhammadu Buhari has joined Nigerians and basketball fans all over the world in celebrating the Tigers for a successful outing at FIBA World Cup 2019. The team had defeated China 82-73 and secured a place for Olympics 2020. President Buhari, in a statement by the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Chief Femi Adesina, congratulated the team for the energetic, resilient and skillful outing that saw them outplaying and outspacing opponents during the tournament. Buhari assured the team that the nation remains proud of them. He commended officials and technical hands for the commitment and investment in ensuring that the Tigers emerged victorious with all the odds of playing against China before home fans in Guangzhou. As the team prepares for the Tokyo Olympics, President Buhari noted that with more dedication, training and focus, the Tigers will surprise the world. Kelechi Wakali is hoping to return to Arsenal very soon. He said Arsenal is his dream club, adding that he joined another club so that he will be playing regularly in order to improve his performance. The Nigerian midfielder was told to Wesker club over the summer. Wakali said one thing is sure, it's not over yet for him at Arsenal because there is a buyback option in his contract. Heavy Michelin have carried out their threat to challenge the circumstances behind Mikel Verif's move to Sheffield United. The Sheffield Stars say FIFA confirmed the receipt of a complaint from the Belgian club after being contacted by the Star yesterday. Verif joined United on a free transfer earlier this summer, claiming his contract at the AFA Stadium, the Casarin, had been rendered null and void when Michelin were removed from the Europa League following a match-fixing investigation. Although they are understood to have an issue with United Verifs, former employer says the goalkeeper broke his agreement before being unveiled by Chris Wilder's side. Danny Rose has vowed to have his say on his uncertain summer with Tottenham, who made him available for sale. Rose's time at Spurs looked to be over after he was left out of the club's pre-season tour. Isha saw he could explore prospective opportunities with other clubs, but the move never materialized. The 29-year-old has since started all 4 of Tottenham's Premier League games this season and was also handed an England start in the European qualifier against Bulgaria on Saturday. The 29-year-old has since started all 4 of Tottenham's Premier League games this season and was also handed an England start in the European qualifier against Bulgaria on Saturday. Manchester United had an offer for Real Madrid midfielder Toni Kroos turned down over the summer. Ogdiario says United expressed a keen interest in Kroos during the summer transfer window on recommendation of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. United submitted an offer, €75 million, to their counterpart in Madrid. Real President Florentino Perez would have been tempted to accept before Zidane dropped his veto. Other directors sided with Zidane on the issue. Perez in his tone by extending the contract of Kroos to June 2023. Arsene Wenger says he was invaded with tax towards the end of his time as Arsenal manager. The Frenchman spent 22 years at the Gunners, concluding in 2018. Wenger told newsmen that his frustration in the end was that he didn't have enough time to think about football, adding that he was in a form of model management where he had so many things to do but was slowly. He further stated that he was basically embedded between the time he arrived to the club by demands that stopped him from concentrating on what is the most important of his job. That's Sports Update on Television Nigeria.
Thank you for that sports update, and that brings us to the final program we have for you this morning on Daybreak Africa. Do not forget, you can always leave your comments and follow us on all our social media handles. We'll be back same time tomorrow with more exciting programs. I am Lucy Ora.
And I am Charles Ibe saying, have yourself a wonderful Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
All day, every day. Thanks for watching. We'll do this again tomorrow. Bye.
Your body bang, bang, your body bang, 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 your body bang, bang, your body bang. And I give us when you take a selfie, when you take a pose, you the ginger the boy. Every time you bend the low, come on girl when you take a selfie. When you take a photo, you the ginger the boy. Every time you bend it low.
Want to shoot a dope music video at 50% discount?
50% discount?
Yeah, 50% discount. Bougie down to Television Nigerian with world-class equipment and a badass expert crew.
Okay, face your camera now. Shh. Shh. Continue.
Where was I? Everything extra.
Carolina, you bad.
Hurry up.
I know say you know this thing you did do, my girl, say you know. Your body is big and I know say you know.